Okay, welcome. Now we're going to start talking about graphs of sine and cosine functions. Okay, and so we're going to start with the basic sine and cosine curves. So these are basics where we have sine is just, y is equal to sine x and y is equal to cosine x. So these are the basic sine and cosine graphs. Okay, so notice how for the sine, right, we start at the origin and it goes up to pi over 2, so it goes to pi over 2 comma 1, and then it goes back down to 0 at pi comma 0, and then up to the point, so the minimum value is going to be at what, 3 pi over 2 comma negative 1, and then it comes back to 2 pi comma 0, which is where it started. So this right here is one cycle of the sine curve. So the period, as we've talked about, is 2 pi. Okay, so because then that's when it repeats itself. Okay, so the period is going to go from 0 to 2 pi. Or excuse me, well, the one cycle is going to go from 0 to 2 pi. Okay. The range, right? So the range, the sine function bounces back and forth between negative 1 and 1 inclusive. Okay. And then if we compare that, we look at the cosine function, we see something similar except that it's just shifted pi over 2, right? So if we look at this one, if we shift it back pi over 2, then we get the cosine function. So the cosine function starts at 0 comma 1, and then it goes down to pi over 2 comma 0, and then it goes down to, and then it goes, the next part is 3 pi comma negative 1, and then it goes to 3 pi over 2 comma 0, and then it goes right back to, at this point, it goes back to where it started, which happens at 2 pi. Okay, so again, the period is 2 pi. The range, again, is the same as sine, which is negative 1 to 1. Okay, and so these are the basic graphs for sine and cosine. Now, we're also going to use the calculator too, so you want to make sure you have your graphing calculator handy, because we're going to be using them. What else? Also make sure you understand, if you look at the sine function, notice how the sine function is symmetric, right? So let's talk about symmetry for a moment. So the sine function is symmetric with the origin, because notice how if you rotate it 180 degrees, you get the exact same function. So you could rotate it and it looks like it didn't change. Now with the cosine function, that is symmetric with respect to y. Okay? Because if you flip it across the y-axis, you get the exact same graph. Okay? So that's another aspect of the sine and cosine function that you want to notice. So what does that mean? So from this, sine function is an odd function, cosine function is obviously an even function. Okay? And then of course, to graph sine functions and cosine functions, you just have to graph the critical points, which I've mapped out here. So the critical points is from 0 to 2 pi, one period, right? At least one period. So the critical points are going to be at 0, pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi. So as long as you graph those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points, then you just basically connect those points with a nice smooth curve, and you're done. Okay? Again, same thing with cosine. You want to plot the points at x equals 0, pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi. Okay? And of course have your range from 1 to -1 like I do, and then you just sketch it out. So we'll do some examples and checkpoints and we'll go from there. Have a great day.